Hello, hello, hello. Guys, we're back with episode 4 of Community Night. This time with my favorite co host, Chief Commercial Officer here at Funtico, Mr. Doron Wesley, and a very special guest today, Mr. Mike Rokita, who is the head of development here at Funtico. Today's show is basically going to focus on the development that we're doing here in Funtico and just a general overview of kind of like the tech stack that we've been building on and like why did we decide to build on certain stacks and basically just to get to know Mike also a little bit better and for him to give us a kind of like an inside look into what goes on behind the developers' closed doors here at Funtico. So to kick off the show, again, as always, Doron, can I please ask you for a short introduction to all of the viewers in terms of who you are and what you've been doing at Funtico? And then, Mike, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing as well.
Good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. I'm Doron Wesley. Thanks, Sven. It's always good to be here. And Mike, welcome to the show. It's a rainy Thursday in the summer. And, for those of you who've watched us before, I'm excited to be on together with Sven, and we always bring in interesting guests, sometimes from inside the company and sometimes from outside the company partners. This time we have an exciting guest who actually knows our technology inside out, and I'm excited to have a conversation with Mike about that. For those of you who don't know, I'm Doron Wesley. I run commercialization for Funtico, which is sales and marketing, and like anything else with a startup, we're basically janitors. We do everything that needs to be done. Which is fun. So whenever Mike needs something, I work with him. And whenever Mike and I need something, I work with Mike and vice versa. And Sven and I work together on social media. We're very excited about the status where we are as a company. We are a gaming platform, which many of you know, allowing other games to be published on and use our leaderboard and tournaments and prize awards to really get users excited around their games. And then we have our own published games, which is really exciting. We have 10 plus games, out of which one of them is absolutely running hit. It's Formula Funtico. It's a Mario Kart style game. We've had already several tournaments with it. We actually have the fireworks tournament right now happening there where you can actually win some money. So go check it out at funtico.com and go to tournaments and just join. All you have to do is register. That's really all it takes right now. We've had our first NFT sale series that happened on June 6th, which is very exciting, the Necromancer. And then we just concluded yesterday a very big tournament in India with our partners, Cajun, where we had 10,115 players over a period of 3 weeks duke it out for a prize money of $10,000, which is a lot of money. I didn't win, unfortunately, and it was a game that I'm really, really terrible in. It's Solitaire Slam. It was a beautiful app that people downloaded. They played against each other. I think that the top person has like more than 6 million points or something like that. It's incredible how many games some of these people have played. And that's kind of who we are as Funtico. Mike, what about you? Who are you, man?
Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to be here. Thanks for the invite. So I am head of development, as Sven mentioned. I'm trying to make everything work and not to blow up in our faces. So far, so good, as they say. And yeah, that's from my side. My background is mostly financial work. So crypto, I was personally involved in before, although I didn't do any commercial big projects. So that's very interesting what we are doing here. I really believe that we'll make a difference, and that's why I joined the team. So I really believe that we'll make it easy for all the people that want, all the indie studios, all the bigger studios to join our platform, and we'll make it as easy for them as we possibly can and make tools for them too.
Awesome. Thank you for the interest, gentlemen. And thank you for this little segue into what we're going to be talking about, Mike. So like you're just getting a deeper understanding of, like what makes Funtico a complex also like platform from a technological standpoint. But yeah, I had maybe just a follow-up question for you, because since you mentioned it, kind of just in terms of, this background that you had in crypto before you got even involved, with like a commercial project with Funtico. I'm just curious, and maybe, like there's listeners also out there who are kind of like, maybe being some self-taught Solidity developers and like people getting into it and getting excited. So if you could just give us also like a bit of background in terms of, like how you got into crypto and basically like what even like draw you to smart contracts and, like developing stuff like this.
Yeah, so I started interesting in cryptocurrencies and blockchain in general very early. I actually bought my first piece of Bitcoin for, I believe it was for around $4,000 back then.
Okay.
But later I'm sad to admit that I was scammed. So I lost all of that.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I'm not a crypto millionaire at this point.
That sucks.
Unfortunately, yeah, yeah, touche. And I started trading very early on. I also am a programmer, and I'm interested in finance and computer science.
Mm-hmm.
I was trading, and I was interested in how to write stuff on blockchain, because it's a very interesting concept. If you ask me, it's like you can write a piece of code and run it basically around the world, on computers around the world, because blockchain is basically like a super big computer that is distributed across the globe, right? So
For sure.
that's super cool.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, thank you for that little bit of background. Now, if we could just kind of like slowly get into the, like I guess like main topic of conversation that I would like to discuss with you gentlemen today, which is basically Funtico and the entire platform, and maybe like with all of that in mind, Mike, if I could just kindly ask you to like maybe elaborate to all of the listeners out there, like how the whole story started. And what was like, I guess, like you being the head of development, kind of crucial for you to kind of like plan out and make sure that we execute to make Funtico the platform that we want it to be.
So there are, like, I would say 3 pillars that are important to us. First of all, playability and fun.
Okay.
So we need to make our platform fun for people to enjoy and actually engage in what we offer. Another one is security. As we all know, crypto space is filled with scams all around.
Yeah.
So we do our best to make everything as secure as possible. And actually, much of our efforts is put into that. So not only into development and doing things fast and work, but we also test everything. We have 100% coverage in all the code that we write. We have audits, security audits. So we do all of that to actually make sure that nobody loses any money in the process. We only can gain money. That's the idea. Everybody is happy. And the third part is making it, and that's like the idea behind Funtico is to make it possible for publishers, for game designers, indie studios, or big studios as well. They are welcome to come at any point to join the crypto space without knowing much about crypto space, right? So
Gotcha.
I like to say that we are like a gateway between Web 2 and Web 3 for game production, right? So that's the goal behind Funtico, to me at least at this point.
Yeah, maybe Doron, this is something like you can just like a little bit elaborate more, like in terms of just having this approach that Mike is mentioning, for like Funtico basically being the gateway for other game developers, to kind of like take advantage of this whole like tokenized economy ecosystem that we're trying to build here. And yeah, how like, this is like also something I guess like crucial for you and like in your area of expertise and work, where this is basically something that is used as high leverage for getting people and getting like game developers excited and interested about this kind of like approach and product.
First of all, I have to say, Mike, I love the fact that you said fun as the first word, because I think that it shows that we're all on the same page in the company, right? It's often not the case where you've got 103 people working together in different countries, which is Poland, Ukraine, the Netherlands, Israel, and the US, all working in the same focus. And Romania, by the way, we have people in Romania as well. And to hear the head of development, who's not in marketing at all, say the first thing, it's about fun. We want this to be fun. We want people to actually have fun, play a game, win, sell, buy NFTs around, what they are getting, which is skin, or whether they're getting a loot pack, or whether they're getting a new gun or a new skin for their race car. And we want to make sure it's fun. And then the other part that I think is really important that people are hearing is security, which I think people sometimes overlook. Everybody's like the blockchain and the bridge and the this and the token and all of that stuff. But the reality is that if you don't have any secure platform that people can actually feel comfortable in registering and being there on and having, paying because you're paying money in to play the games and then getting a reward and then being able to withdraw that reward in a way that is secure and doesn't like scam you, I think that's an incredibly important part. And it's great to see how focused the company is on that. I think that for us, if you think about, the different types of people that we work with, obviously we operate our own games, right? And when we operate our own games, we want to make sure that the platform works and people can actually play and that it's secure and they can have fun and they can win a lot of money. I mean, the tournament's $100,000 is a lot of money for anybody. First prize was $50,000 out of that $100,000. So to me, that's a life-changing event. I'm sure for other people as well. It doesn't matter where you are, whether it's in New York City or you're in Warsaw, Poland, right? Sure. Or in Croatia and Zagreb. So I think that is exciting. But the other people that we have is also like gaming communities. There's gaming communities like Cajun, but there's others, gaming guilds, that have groups of people who really like gaming. I remember when I lived in Korea, you have internet cafes where people, it's all about rows of computers and they're playing games. They love doing that. They were doing that in the 2000s, not even just now. They were doing it back then. So these people like to play games. They want to be together, their community. And so the ability for us to offer them to an area to play different games, not just one, but actually multiple games, and based on what they like, and be able to actually compete and get into a leaderboard and eventually also win some cash, I think it allows me to move between, we want to get users, which is for our games. We want to go to communities who already have gamers and then bring them on and let them play within the platform and actually win money. So that's another way of doing it. And for Mike and myself, it's also different integration, because the challenges that Mike and I are working on together with the other people in the team for bringing users to our platform is very different, but connected to when we're working with, for example, a gaming guild where we constantly have to provide them information about who the gamers are, what their scores are. So that means that Mike and I have a constant back and forth. We also have to check whether there's any fraudulent behavior, making sure that the gamers who are playing an up and up are not being, played with by bots, which in our industry is prevalent. Like, let's be honest about it. It's everywhere, right? And
exploiters usually eat very well in this space, right?
Yes, because we're offering money. We're like a prime target. We're offering people money, and so people obviously come to us for that. And so to write a script and to have 5,000 bots come attack, a gaming guild or a game is very easy. So we're constantly looking to make sure that we don't have problems like that. And then in addition to those people, then we have the game publishers. And I think that what Mike said is something really important that should not be overlooked. Yes, everybody can build blockchain. Yes, if you put enough money behind it, enough talent behind it, and you find the right people behind it, in 2024, you can build. You can build your own, platform, your own bridge. You can do all of that. But the reality is that all of us have special traits. Like, I am not a coder. So I could code probably if I learn and I study it, but I go to Mike because Mike has a team who actually understands how to build a platform and architecture for it, right? The same way that I don't necessarily am the expert in Discord or in Telegram. And so I go to Sven or Stefan to help me with building that community. And so for publishers who actually are creative and have a storyline and have built out their characters and the flow and the arc and the challenges, and then to come to us and say, hey, I want to benefit from being able to provide prizes to my audience, my gamers. I want to be able to allow people to trade the things that they own and win. Because, remember when we played Pac-Man, there was nothing to own. We were just playing Pac-Man and eating stuff up, or Mario Kart. But now being able to actually own my NFT and put it into the game, right, as a character, or having my own specialized skin of a racer that I can earn, and then if I don't want it, I can sell it to somebody else. I think that's what makes it so exciting, because now there are assets within the game, not just our games, but any game, that are ownable. You can own things. And by the way, Roblox and Fortnite have been all around that, right? And so what we're doing, to conclude my story, because I talk too much, is, and what Mike is doing, he takes all of those great ideas, and Mike, I'd love for you to actually elaborate on that, by the way, and he then says, okay, how do I make this Web3 stuff understandable for Web2 people, right? Because most gaming studios are Web2 people. They don't need to know the bridges and the tokens and the protocols and all of that stuff. Why would they need to know that? They just need to provide a game and get to the audience, and everything else should just be working. Whether somebody wants to pay with Apple Pay or Google Pay or with Tron or with like Bitcoin or Ethereum, doesn't really matter, right? That's just like, so Mike, maybe you can elaborate, like, how do you make Web3, which is, a different language, understandable for Web2 people? What's your special sauce in that?
That's a great question. So I would say that we do it on a few fronts. One of which is payments. So everybody knows how to pay with Visa, MasterCard, how to do a wire transfer, but not everybody knows how to create a new wallet, on a certain chain, then, put money on it, go to exchange, go to a bridge, do all of that. This is not that straightforward, and it's error prone, right? You can do mistakes, you can lose all your money. When it comes to wire transfers, you can always revert it, but in crypto, if you just put the one letter wrong in the receiving address, it's gone. It's math, right? So that's a good part, and that's a bad part at the same time. So we are trying to make it as simple as possible by allowing people to actually pay with credit cards, and with fiat currencies to get Verticos on our platform. Of course, they are able to deposit directly by sending us Verticos, and then they will see it in their balance on the platform. But if they don't want to do it, if they don't want to, make that risk, they are able to do it in a Web2 kind of way, right? Another thing is, from the game production side, let's say I want to have a game in which I have skins, right? And all of a sudden I want to join the crypto space. So I figure I can just make those skins NFTs, right? And you could say, oh, these are just, PNGs, right? It's not a big deal. But actually it's not that simple, especially if you want to do something more sophisticated with that. So we're giving tools to publishers to actually do it without even touching blockchain directly, so that it makes it much easier for them to do it. They are good at what they do, right? So they do a great game, great skins, great user experience within the game, but they don't necessarily need to know how to put an image into IPFS, right? So this is how we do it on these two fronts.
So so what you're basically saying, oh, sorry, Doron, go ahead.
You're the host, my friend. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I was basically just gonna say, so you're basically like, removing this friction, this barrier to entry, with a lot of the stuff that we're doing for these developers, correct? From what I understood.
Sorry, can you repeat?
So
I lost
with
you.
all of the things that you've listed, from basically like this on ramping, off ramping, in terms of like using the fiat payments, enabling credit card processing for like getting into the assets, as well as like allowing people to bridge from other accounts, personal accounts, and have this like interaction back and forth. You're basically just enabling these gaming studios to have less friction on the whole like Web3 stack of what they need to do and be able to focus on the game, right?
I think that's even
pretty much.
Because, Mike, I think you're being very modest, because if you think about what you're doing is you're making sure that people don't have to worry about gas fees, right? Even buying stuff, sometimes everybody thinks like, oh, it's $1, but actually it's $1 plus because they still have gas fees, right? And so Mike and his team is making sure that is a seamless experience. Mike, I remember when we sold our Necromancer NFT, the challenges we had there, even with the payment processor, being able to actually verify and making sure that's something that you're doing. I think that, Mike, people don't know that, for example, and publishers don't know this, that you have people, in the Avalanche environment, which we are partner of, but then there are people in the Scale environment, and then there are people in other environments. And what you're doing is you're building bridges. You're actually building bridges to be able to connect those different areas, but otherwise people can't move from one area to another. So I think that you're being very modest about everything that you guys are doing on the back end to actually not just on-ramping and off-ramping, but actually allowing the different protocols, because there are different protocols. It's like speaking Spanish and Portuguese and Japanese and Korean, and still be able to have the game developer operate within all of those different languages and be able to process all the different currencies and make sure that the user, which ultimately is what we're all users, is making it not frustrating. I'll give you an example. I mean, Mike, I was doing, Sven, you know this, we were trying to set up an account on Galaxy, which we love. Galaxy is an amazing launchpad. Great. We're working on it. By the way, go now there. If you're not, you can actually win some points by doing some quests for us. It took me, and I am a person who's been in crypto since 2016. I can tell you, I was there with the CFO. We had 2 wallets. It took us a half hour to get a transaction done from one coin to another coin to another coin in order to open up the account. I'm telling you, it was very frustrating. And this is no ding on Galaxy. It's no ding on anybody. If anything, it's a ding on my brain. But what Mike is doing is trying to take out those friction points. At least, Mike, that's how I see you, right? You're trying to take the friction points out of the process as much as possible so that people can just play, just have fun, and just win money, and just get your money, and not have to worry about the hoops and whistles and all of that in between. I think it's incredible. Awesome. Mike, what, from your perspective, you come from the finance world. From all of the challenges that you've had at Funtico, and there are many, we have every day many challenges, and you have to deal with people like me. What do you feel is the biggest hurdle so far has been for you? Is it time management? Is it finding the right talent? Is it being able to speak the same language so that we can get to the same outcome? Is it the lack of funds in order to be able to do everything you want? What are some of the challenges in a startup that you find as you're building development and developing together with a team, in different areas? What's the biggest challenge for you? Besides working with Israelis, which I know is very challenging. I'm an Israeli.
Working with Israelis is great. For sure, finding right people is the key to success. That's the first brickstone. And when I came here, I built the team from scratch almost. So, every person counts, and it's very important to build so that you go as a team, and development is very streamlined. So that was the big part, and that was quite difficult to do, because on the one hand we needed to push forward, but on the other find the right people and keep them actually in our company, right? We all know that we had ups and downs on the crypto market, so that was for sure some days were tougher than others. And I think in general this space is quite unique in a sense that there's a lot of things that are not very straightforward, I can say. So we are learning every day. We are doing new things every day. And even from finance world, these two worlds are similar, but they are so different at the same time that we needed to switch thinking a bit when we started doing crypto stuff here.
Awesome.
Sorry for so enigmatic answer, but
No, it's a good answer. I
yeah,
mean, there's no right or wrong answer.
yeah.
Is there, in hindsight, now that you're in it for such a long time and you've been building so much, like if you could go back in time and talk to yourself like a couple of months ago, what's the one thing you would give yourself as advice that you now know but you didn't know back then? Is there anything that you would give yourself as advice?
Nothing is obvious,
Okay.
even if it looks obvious at the first sight. I would say the simplest something looks at the first sight is most probable that it will bite you in the ass later. So this is what I can suggest everyone to do, to never underestimate what you are doing and the challenges that you have.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's good words of wisdom to stick by for sure. Okay, guys, we're slowly reaching the 30-minute mark. We have like 3 to 4 more minutes left, and there's one more thing I would like us to do before I let you guys go, because I know you're both busy and have a lot more important stuff to do than hang around here with me. So before we end the show, Mike, I was gonna ask you, while I kind of like showcase again, as we kind of did in the last show, like with the screen share, the platform to all of our viewers, if you could just basically, like guide us through what we have currently, like in the current build of the Funtico app. And just maybe like, share, if you can, a little bit of alpha in terms of what people should be looking forward to in terms of, like new functionalities and developments that you guys are going to be rolling out.
So with the time we have, forgive me, but I won't share my screen right now.
Okay.
Although the biggest, we are very close at finalization of everything we are doing to actually be ready for the TG. Our biggest efforts right now are on security audits, and making this Tico purchases with credit cards and direct deposits very easy for people. So these are our efforts right now. Also making sure that nobody is cheating. So, observability, the stuff that is not, seen at the first sight, most of it is happening on the back end, behind the curtains. Besides that, we are finalizing our games. Currently, people are, when they create an account, upon creating an account, they get one loot pack, which is a starter pack that they can open, and they get certain items from it. We are also working on a Wheel of Fortune and capsules and slot machine. Every time I forget this name, and slot machines game. So all of these games are like heart of the platform, and they are within the platform, and they allow us to make the economy of the platform better. So you can win a thing in game A, and that will allow you to play in game B.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is connected, all of that is calculated. So when you get something in one thing, it's not like it's on random. We actually calculated everything so that the economy of a platform is well thought, and there's no garbage on the marketplace later. And
Mm-hmm.
what people get is actually valuable, and it's not just stuff in your inventory.
Yeah, like dust lying around that, like won't be utilized for any greater purpose. I get that. Okay, cool. So there's basically like what you're saying, like there's a lot of emphasis right now from the development team on basically making all of this interoperability for the digital assets to work within the platform, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. So I think that's it, guys. I'm gonna let you go. We're right on the dot, so timely as always. Again, special thank you, Mike, for basically like coming here to hang out with me and Doron and just give us and also everybody watching and listening a little bit more insight into what's currently being done in terms of like the technical development here at Funtico. Doron, thank you for being a lovely co-host as always. And before we sign out, are there any final or closing words or remarks that you would like to share with everybody watching?
From my side, keep your fingers crossed for us, as we do. And I'm hoping that you will enjoy our platform.
Awesome. And from my perspective, I want Mike to know how much I appreciate his partnership and everything that this team is doing and building. I know it's not easy at all to work constantly under pressure and have multiple priorities at the same time. And I'm excited about all of the things that we're even doing just now in August and that are kind of come out between the Telegram clicker and between Heroes of the Citadel and between some of the new hyper casual games in an app format. So I'm thrilled, I'm excited, and it's great to have you as a partner. And then for all of you guys, just come to Funtico.com and play. You can win money right now. Just come, have fun. It's easier than ever. Just sign up and pick a game you want to play with and see if you can actually outrace somebody else. Or if you want to play solitaire, play some solitaire. Or if you want to play Heroes of the Citadel and start slaying people, come slay. Have an amazing Thursday from New York City. Sven, I hope Zagreb is beautiful and sunny. And next time we do this, I'll be in Israel. So we'll do this from Israel, which is exciting.
Awesome.
Actually, no, I may be even in Poland next to Mike. I may actually be in person in Poland. I have no idea.
Okay.
In 2 weeks where I'll be, either in Israel or in Poland.
Awesome. Guys, again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with everybody listening. Guys, as Doron mentioned, go make sure to check out Funtico at Funtico.com and make sure to follow us on all of our socials, get involved with the community. And until next time, see you in episode 5.